The Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver soundtrack really raised the bar for soundtracks at the time that it came out, I feel anyway. The soundtrack was composed by Kurt Harland. Kurt Harland is a very talented, accomplished musician. He got started in the 80s and gained some popularity with his band Information Society, which also features, other very talented musicians whose names escape me right now. But Kurt Harland went on to do the soundtrack for Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and actually right before this album the soundtrack for the game came out, the main title track that plays during the opening title screen and full motion video for the game is actually a re-edited version of an Information Society song. Harland and his bandmates kind of parted ways briefly, and he ended up putting out an album on his own called Don't Be Afraid, and it was really excellent, fantastic stuff, but it was definitely a departure from the traditional sort of electronic Information Society sound. Their biggest hit when they were at their most popular in the 80s being What's on Your Mind? I Want to Know What You're Thinking. It's very catchy and it's easy to look up and you'll know it the moment you hear it. But Don't Be Afraid was a departure because Harlan wanted to do something a little bit darker, a little bit more gritty, and so it was a little bit more industrial. And the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver soundtrack it used that main song from the Information Society album along with a lot of other original pieces by Harland, and they're great. It is really haunting and ethereal, and it's fantastic. Every single time I hear that particular piece of music, I'm right back there to being absolutely enthralled with Soul Reaver and the story of Raziel, which is a great game to begin with, and great voice acting, like with Michael Bell and Tony Jay, and it was great.
Yeah, I loved that game back in the day. I still have a copy on Dreamcast. I haven't played it in a while. You kind of made me want to go revisit it. But yeah, this particular track that you put in here was very striking to me. It was one of the things that you put in our music show docs that really stood out to me. I need to go back and listen to the rest of it. But that track that you shared in particular, I was looking up the official soundtrack yesterday, and the only thing I could find was just the sort of music that was in the game, which is the same, but the one track that you shared sounded more like remastered or updated. I don't know if there's like an updated version of that.
The version that I shared is essentially just a re-edit of the track from the Information Society album. So if you want to hear more music like that, including Kurt Harland has a great voice in addition to being a really talented musician. The album by Information Society is called Don't Be Afraid, and that track in particular that I shared is Ozar Midrashim 1.1. It has this weird kind of introduction where Harland is talking about like a holographic Ronald McDonald. It's very strange. I'm assuming drugs were involved, but
yeah, it has this weird, like, slimy, grimy kind of feel to it. There's a lot of weird contrasting sounds and stuff. It's like I said, it's very striking.
It's really difficult to describe. I mean, even now I struggle to kind of describe it because I don't want to say that it's industrial because it has like orchestral parts in the background, but really heavy-hitting kind of drums. It really is a blend of genres at a time when blending genres wasn't exactly a thing that was going on all over the place. But man, it really sticks with me, and I can't get enough of it.